Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk About. My name is Sedinam Togo Lamadebu. We've not met this year, so Happy New Year. Today we are discussing the TUC Credit Union. Before that, I'd like to state that Let's Talk About is a midweek talk show organized by the Trinity United Church, Legon, where we discuss issues of different kinds and on different topics that bother the everyday Christian. Today, we are talking about credit unions, placing a particular spotlight on the Trinity United Church Credit Union. With me today are our first guest, Mr. Daniel Kofi Hoto, the Regional Manager of the Credit Union Association of Ghana. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And to my immediate left is Mr. Emmanuel Duku, the Secretary to the Trinity United Church Credit Union Board and the Church Administrator. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So we'll dive right into our discussion. We would also like to remind our viewers that this is a conversation. We are going to learn a lot, so we would suggest that you join us. Watch us live on Facebook, Trinity United Church Legon, and on YouTube as well. You can send us your questions, your comments, suggestions, or whatever it is you may have on our social media platforms or to our WhatsApp number 0501 579 996 0501 579 996. We'll start right away. Mr. Hoto, I'll start with you. Since you're the regional manager, I'd like you to give us a brief overview of what a credit union is.
Right. Thank you very much. Let me begin by saying good evening to all our cherished viewers. Credit unions is a financial cooperative institution that has the mandate of accepting deposits from amounts individual members who are interested in it. Credit unions accept deposits in the form of shares. They also accept deposits in the form of savings. Beyond deposit mobilization, credit unions have the mandate in the country to extend credit facilities to their members, who generally we regard as shareholders.
Okay.
And so the pool of funds from amongst the members is what form the credit union fund, and this fund is re-lent to the members. But they do not re-lent all to the members. The portion that is left, which are not in loans, are also invested in other liquid investments.
Okay.
And so by mandate, generally this is what credit unions do. They take deposits from their members. They also provide loans facilities, and beyond that, they invest part of the money to other investment communities we have in the country.
Okay, thank you for the in-depth summary. Now, Mr. Duku, since the spotlight is on the Trinity United Church Credit Union, would like you to give us a brief history, where we have come from, how it started, where we are now, and how we are doing.
Thank you, Sedinam. I think as a church, Trinity United is not only concerned with the spiritual development of the individuals, we also concerned with their physical. See, as Christ was growing, he was growing spiritually and also physically. So the church also concerned about how people are also making their living. Sometime in the 2000s, the church observed that women especially needed small loans to be able to establish small businesses. At that time, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante was the minister in charge. So some church members tried to put some resources together and use it as a revolving loan, especially for the women. But the demand was such that there was a need to expand it. So the idea of credit union came in, as the regional manager has explained. I think it fit into the need at that time. So in 2004, this revolving loan was now developed into a credit union. You went through the process and got it registered as a credit union, a faith-based credit union, a credit union within the church, Trinity United Church.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hoto, to continue the conversation, we recently experienced a bank sector cleanup in Ghana, I think before that, we were not so concerned about who was eligible to keep my money and all of that. But after that, we kind of got a rude awakening. So my question is, who regulates credit unions in Ghana?
All right, thank you. So regulation, let me acknowledge that credit unions operate in an industry we call the non-bank financial industry. Now, if you look at the players within that industry, you find credit unions, you find savings and loans company, you find microfinances, and few others. You realize that the operatives within the non-bank financial institutions industry are all regulated by Bank of Ghana when it comes to prudential regulation. And so, as credit unions, Bank of Ghana provides the prudential regulation. However, Bank of Ghana works with other regulatory agencies, i.e. Department of Cooperatives, which is the government arm, which also provide some regulation to the credit union community in Ghana. And we also have the apex body of credit unions, the Ghana Cooperative Credit Union Association, which is also one of the agencies providing regulation for Ghana. You look at the law specifically, beyond the Non-Bank Financial Institutions Act 774, you realize that credit unions have a parent constitution or a parent regulation, which is the what we call the NLCD, National Liberation Council Decree 252 of 1968. This is the law that regulates the activities of credit unions in Ghana. So this is our regulation in terms of external, prudential, and non-prudential we derive from this particular act. We also have, as recent as 2015, the Ghanaian Parliament also, passing an LI, legislative instrument, which further strengthen the operations of credit unions in Ghana. And so generally, these are the people that are behind the regulations of credit unions in Ghana.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I would like to ask a question based on your submission. Okay. You mentioned something like a prudential regulation.
Okay.
Can you give us some insight on what that means?
All right. So generally, when we talk about prudential regulation, we're talking about our financial regulation. So what do we do as a financial institution? So our financial bit or the financial aspect of the work is being regulated by Bank of Ghana. So Prudential has to do with the financial regulations. But when it comes to the non-financial, there are many other things we do that are not just financial. So issues regarding registration, how do we register? Issues regarding arbitrations, conflict resolution, and all those kind of things are the non-prudential, regulation. And these ones are done by the registrar of the Department of Cooperatives, that is DOC in short, and also by the leadership of the apex body, that is KUA. These are the other aspects that are providing the non-prudential regulations as well.
Okay, sure. I'll come back to you, Mr. Duku. Can you tell us some of the services the Trinity United Church Credit Union offers?
Yes, flowing from what we had come to, we mobilize our resources, we put our resources together. So individuals purchase shares, a minimum share of 300 Ghana cedis that will make you a member of the TUC Credit Union. And then thereafter, you make savings. Savings can be done daily, weekly, monthly, whatever way you want to do it, depending. Even during the day, you can go and do saving 3 times or whatever number you want to do. So this is how you mobilize our resources so far. And out of that, we also grant loans to people who need them. Loans to do business, loan to meet personal commitment, like child school fees, like all these things. So these are the main services that we render. And out of that too, we also do some advisory, business advisory services, helping people to know what to do to, once you take the loans, you are also advised as to how to manage it so that you'll be successful. Okay. We also pray for them.
Very important.
Yes.
You mentioned in your introduction that it's a faith-based union. Okay, so the 300 cedis is flat.
That's the minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. When you say minimum, it means that when you have not had the 300, you cannot be a member. But once you have 300, you can go on to add more to it. But the minimum share required is 300.
Okay.
In fact, when we started in 2004, it was 50 cedis.
Okay.
But as the years goes on,
You
the
increase
board
it.
review it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Hoto, how safe are credit unions?
Well, so let us say that safe in the context of the laws that establish us. And so to the consumer of the credit unions, our shareholders, we believe that one of the things that guides our decision to keeping our faith with the credit union is to find out whether the operation is a regulated operation. And from the earlier submission I made, I indicated that there are a number of state institutions that provide
Regulated.
regulation to the credit union as a non-financial, a banking institution. And so if you see the fact that you are not on your own, but you have other people that contribute to your existence, making sure that you act well, particularly because it is deposit mobilization from the public. These state institutions that are behind it provide security to making sure that the institutions do not fail their members. Even if they fail, the remedy can allow members to have access to their money. So relatively, we can say that the members and the institutions of the credit unions are safe.
Okay.
Beyond external regulations, let us also make the point that internally we have structures that are also potent enough to secure members' funds and to secure losses from the respective credit unions. What structures am I talking about? The institution of the credit union is formed by people within a certain environment. So say TUC from the church here in Legon. The management of the TUC Credit Union is in the hands of the members who have elected the directors to represent them. We believe that these members who have been elected are people who have the credentials, are people who have the goodwill, are people who have the capacity and have all the moral persuasions to be able to lead and direct this credit union. This aspect of our structure allows the credit unions to grow well because these people live up to the dictates and they are able to give this guarantee to our members.
Thank you. People change. So I would like Mr. Duku to tell us the process through which they, elect the people who sit on the board.
Yes, just to add that, the credit union belongs to the members. We have put our money together. So that is even the first guarantee that we want to make sure that it succeeds.
Safe.
Then having done that, the processes, as I mentioned, we have our annual general AGM, annual general meeting. That is the apex, the highest decision-making body. That is where all the membership are brought together to hold a meeting, discuss issues, and then take resolutions. It is during the meeting that board members are also elected. But the election go through a process. In fact, you must be a member, and then we open nominations. You must present yourself that I want to be a board member. Then the regulators, KUA especially, and the Department of Cooperatives, will vet individual members. Your membership must be guaranteed. They will look through and make sure that, yes, you said your member. Sure, you are a member. What is your standing? Then they go behind also to find out more information about you, and especially in our case within the church. We are able to know.
Do your own.
What is the person, what does he look like? What is he doing? What is his integrity? So we put all these things together. And then once you come out, at least we know that the person has been vetted, he has gone through the process, and there's some assurance that if anything, nothing at all, he's a Christian. So he fears God.
Okay, we hope so. So from my point of view,
Yes.
As a member of the society, not a member of the credit union, but a church member as well, to surprise you that credit unions are very popular for the loans they give.
Yes.
Very, very popular.
Yes.
they are not as rigid as the other financial institutions, so people can work there, you know, and get some money. I know there are different categories of the loans, so if you can educate us on them, especially the TUC Credit Union loan facilities, so that those who are listening and are interested can, you know, apply.
Yes, TUC Credit Union. Currently, we have 3 categories of loans. When I say 3 categories, we have within the membership, we have salaried workers whose salary pass through the credit union, just like it passes through bank. So if you're a salaried worker and you make your salary pass through the credit union, you can take loan from the credit union, TUC Credit Union, using your salary as a guarantor. In that case, your employer, if you are working with the church will write to confirm that you are their employee, and then whenever you are leaving their services, they will inform the credit union, so that if you are having any indebtedness, they will settle it with them. So that is one category of loans that we give for salary workers. In that case, once you are a member, you are purchased a minimum of 300 cedis share. You are a member, so you can take a loan, use your salary as a guarantor. That one attracts an interest of 3% every month. If you work it out, it's about 16% per annum, or 19% per annum. Then we have other loans where you take double your share and your savings. When you are going for loans, they look at what is the shares that you have bought. Beyond the 300, you might have bought, you can
more.
buy it even up to whatever.
Okay.
5,000, whatever. Then the savings you have, you put them together. Assuming we put them together and your savings and your shares works to about 2,000, you can take a loan double that, which can give you 4,000. When you take such a loan, the interest is 2.5% per month, and this works to about 16% per annum. Then you can also take loan within your savings. When I was talking about your shares and your savings double, assuming you have your share and your savings, let's say to 2,000, but you need some thousand cedis to go and pay your child school fees, but you don't want to touch what you have saved there. So you have a savings and shares of 2,000, but you need a loan of 1,000 cedis. That is why we say you are taking a loan within your savings. This one will attract interest of 1%.
Okay.
Per month.
So, let me add quickly.
Please do.
Your concern is why people appear to have enough information about credit union loans, but not other activity. You see, the point Secretary made from the real life, the reason we work every day, the reason we struggle every day is to make our economic and financial life stable. Now, one of the things that allow us to have this stability is wanting to have access to capital, have access to finances to develop your business prospects. And that is why many people who are part of the credit union movement have acknowledged and come to this position that if you take away other service providers that give or grant loans and you compare the cost of the loans to that of the credit union loans cost in terms of interest rates, credit unions provide much more reduced or competitive rates.
Please give us the numbers.
So what this means is that take TUC for instance, and he made a point that from the 3 categories of loans that they give to their members, you have rates or the loans trading at 1% per annum, per month on reducing balance. That will translate to about 12% per annum if you were taking the money that is just about your savings. But if you were taking twice your savings balance with the union, you were given at 2.5% per month on a reducing balance, which also translates to about 16.5% per annum.
Okay.
Then if you were taking your salary here, but you don't have enough savings, but the credit union have to give you loans, the union will give it to you at a rate of 3% per month on reducing balance, which also translates into about 19.5% per annum.
Okay, you keep
now,
mentioning reducing balance. Please touch on that before you move
What
on.
that means is that the monthly rates, which is the 3%, is applicable on the outstanding loan balance, not necessarily the principal balance. So, for instance, let me use 50,000 or let's say 10,000. Secretary is mentioning very low figures in my case. So, 10,000 minimum is my loan principal. If I am paying 3% per month, the first month repayment, the 3% is charged on the 10,000.
Okay.
The subsequent month, I would have paid part of the 10,000 principal. So let's say I have 9,000 in the second month. The 3% will be charged on the 9,000. So it will keep reducing in that order until the last month. That is the reducing balance method of interest calculation I'm talking about.
Okay.
But all in all, you can translate that into an annual rate, which I am giving along the line. So you will realize that indeed value creation for monies or for capital that you have to borrow and use to finance your productive activities or provident activities, you realize that you can create more value when you access the credit union loans. Why? Because you and I can check from what is prevailing within the other service providers environment. You are aware in Ghana today, the Bank of Ghana that provides credit, or the last lender to the commercial banks, has a policy rate of 28%. Do you know what that means? It means that when the commercial banks go to the central bank to access loans, central bank gives it to them at 28% per annum. If you were the MD of a given bank, how much will you trade on that money to be able to create value for your shareholders? The reason why you will notice that other service providers who rely on that will give their loans a little higher. And you can cross-check from 30% more and more and more, which will be your decision if you were the consumer of these loans facilities, where there's a provider that gives it to you at 16.5% per annum, and you can take just as you would want to finance your activities. And you also have one that can give you at 35% as a consumer, credit consumer. Which of these institutions will you go to?
The lower interest
The lower interest one, and that is a credit union. Remember that loan has no quality in terms of the money that is provided. All is cash, all is check, all is loan. So there's no need to say that, these ones provide quality loan and the other does not provide quality loan. We don't have anything like that. We are interested in value creation. It is the reason why the members of the immediate public here and beyond have gotten to that position where they feel that should I need support financially,
I can come to the credit union.
I have to go to the credit union other than any other service provider.
Thank you. I like how well we've dealt with the whole loan issue.
Okay.
I have the clarity now. I understand.
Thank you.
Mr. Duku, so for those who have heard this and are very happy, what are some of the requirements to open an account with the Trinity United Church Credit Union?
You can walk straight to the office. Credit Union office.
Where's your office? What's that?
In the children's block.
Okay.
When you climb the stairs, you see the Credit Union signboard there.
Okay.
Just walk straight there. In fact, they operate from Monday up to Friday and even Sundays. Sunday, while you are in church, the Credit Union is opened. Especially is done here.
Okay.
You can walk there, and on Sunday they do all the business that can be done during the week. You will need to fill a form. The manager will give you a form. You will fill. As I've mentioned, the minimum share that you have to pay is 300 cedis. Once you pay the 300 cedis, you can begin your savings. Savings can be done daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. Once you have been with the credit union for 6 months, you are eligible to apply for a loan. But you must have spent 6 months. Then once you take the loan, you can apply to any. If you are a salary worker, you do it within 6 months, you can still take the loan. If you are not a salary worker and you're also making the savings 6 months, you can take a loan.
Okay.
Double what you have done and all those things.
Okay, we'll talk about loan defaulters.
Okay.
But is the Trinity United Church Credit Union open to the public? Maybe someone got the link from a friend and is watching us now.
Yes, currently we are working with the church members and people within the environment. Yes, people, it's open to the public.
Okay.
But when we started 2004, it was mainly with the church. But as we grew, other members outside the church
Started joining.
are participating.
Okay. Mr. Otto, please speak on the loan defaulters. How do you deal with that as a credit union? Because with how attractive your interest rates and everything, I'm sure you have people absconding with your money.
Well, so let's say that we would not describe it as absconding with the money or running away with it, but we know that all businesses have some, risks inherent. And so as a credit institution, we are also aware that not 100% of the loans we give out will all come. And so there are provisions to make sure that we get in all much as possible. How do we do that? We're looking at our guarantee system or collateral system. You will notice that if you are taking money from other service providers, you are required to provide some collateral, system to guarantee the funds that the service provider is giving to you. In our case, our first collateral system is what we call a guarantee system,
Okay.
where another shareholder of the credit union identifies with you and commit to the portion of the loan that goes beyond your savings and shares balance.
Okay.
Say that, let's give to you. In an event of default, I will be responsible to making sure that that money is paid back.
Okay.
So we have that guarantor system where members of the union and other shareholders gives approval and say, let's me guarantee for this member to take the loans. There are some credit unions in Ghana, you find out that the volumes of money that go into loans to the members is so huge. We're talking about monies that credit unions financing businesses more than 500,000, some doing 1 million Ghana cedis, 50,000 and what have you. Such ones, depending on the provisions in their loan policy, you realize that the collateral system goes beyond the guarantor system, where you may be asked to provide some, collateral. Hard ones, of course, landed property.
Like assets and all of
yes,
them.
assets in that order, to be able to secure such loans. And if it is useful and prudent to rely on those ones because of the volume of the money, we allow that also to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You'd like to add?
With the credit union in the TUC,
Yes.
since we haven't reached that high level, we deal with the guarantee system. So I've mentioned that three categories of loans. For a salaried worker, your guarantee is a note from your employer
Okay.
stating that, yes, they have employed you. So if the church has employed you, you send a letter that you are an employee and you pass the salary through them so that you'll be able to service the loan. In the event that you are leaving the services of the church, you inform the credit union so that whatever indebtedness you have, they settle it. That is the first type. The second one is where we give you twice your savings and your shares.
Okay.
In that case, it means half of the loan is guaranteed by your own savings and shares. The remaining half is what you look for another member within the credit union to guarantee for you.
Okay.
So, assuming you are taking 10,000 and your savings and things up to 5,000, it means half have been taken care of.
Yes.
You look for another member or two or even three who will also have savings and shares equivalent to the remaining 5,000.
Okay.
And they are also saying that in the event that you are not paying the money,
Use that money to
use that
offset
money
it.
to settle
Right.
it. So you are now guaranteed.
Right.
As for the third category where you have taken a loan within your savings, it means you have guaranteed yourself already. Because you have more money there than what you have taken. So that one, you don't need any guarantor anywhere. It means you have guaranteed for yourself. So that is how our system works.
Okay.
Let me add something. We've been talking about loans for a while now, but
yeah.
I think that that is not the only area of of benefit to our members,
of
and I
course.
want to extend it to other areas beyond the loans. You realize that as financial service provider, there are other products beyond the loan, particularly when it comes to the savings account or the deposit account. Let us make this point that most credit unions in Ghana, as we speak today, are able to pay interest on their members' savings. Some do it on quarterly basis. Every other 3 months, they return interest on their members' savings. This is one of our uniqueness. And again, I will leave this to the public to find out. Many who also make deposit with other service providers find out, particularly the withdrawable savings account or current account, how much of interest will you want to get from that? But as we also operate this kind of withdrawable savings account, yet credit unions return interest on quarterly basis. Some do it every 6 months, and others who cannot do at all do it on yearly basis.
Okay, we'd like more details, but I would like to go for a quick break, and then we'll have a more detailed discussion on the savings and deposits. Thank you so much. We are still discussing the Trinity United Church Credit Union and credit unions in Ghana at large. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
Welcome back from the break, and thank you for staying with us. Please do not forget to send your questions and comments on our Facebook and YouTube platforms, Trinity United Church Legon, or to our WhatsApp number 0501 579 996 0501 579 996. We would love to hear from you and clarify any doubts you might have. Before I go back to Mr. Hoto to talk on, talk more on the savings and the deposits and the dividends payment, Mr. Duku would like to share something.
Yes, as a original manager mentioned about it, all credit union pay dividends on shares and interest on savings. And then as he's mentioning, depending on how digitized you have reached. In fact, some are paying quarterly, some are paying half annually, some are paying annually. In our case, we are in the process. TUC, in fact, until recently, you were paying annually because you were doing manual payments. The year will end, they will do our audit, and then you calculate those things. There's a software which KUA is using, we call it KUSoft, which we have bought in now. In fact, we are transiting our data and everything on it. Right now, the managers they are working on it. Once we are through with this, TUC will also be capable of paying quarterly, half yearly, and annually for the interest. As for dividend, it is when you have done the AGM that we declare dividends.
You declare and share
it. So we expect that in a year or two, TUC will be able to pay interest on the savings quarterly and semi-annually.
Okay.
Just like other
So now you are still saying they are still doing annual payments.
Yes,
That's
for
what
now
you're saying
it's
for
annual
now.
payment, yes.
But soon you may be doing the
will
quarterly
do
and
the
semi-annual.
semi-annual.
Okay, Mr. Hota, over to you.
Yeah, so let me commend the leadership and management of TUC for that aspect of the operation, which of course is very, very important. Particularly the rate, I'm aware what they paid last year annually was about 18% per annum on withdrawable savings account. That is a current account.
Yeah.
That is returning 18% per annum interest to you. It is good. We have credit unions in Ghana that are doing it because they have all the banking technologies and can get this done on quarterly basis. It is one of our success stories. It's one of our uniqueness. It's one of the things that draw our members to us, because we believe that if not credit union and you are keeping withdrawable savings account with any other institution, they will rather charge you what we call cost of transaction, COT. But in our case, it's the contrary. We rather give something to you for giving that with us. But beyond the savings account, some also have other savings products, i.e. fixed deposit or time deposits, that some have investment capital and would want you to manage it as a credit union for some given period of time. So those who are having the fixed deposit accounts pay better interest also to their members. I'm sure in the near future, as they look at their strategic focus, these are some of the new products TUC may also be adding on. It's another area of benefit to our members.
Okay.
But look at the shares. Why should you be a shareholder? Share is also one, but just one of the deposits accounts that we have. And every shareholder is interested in the dividends. So that if the credit unions are able to make surplus, what we call surplus, not profits, at the end of the year, the surplus so declared, portion is paid or is appropriated and paid to the shareholders as dividends. And many have been in this business of paying dividends to their shareholders on annual basis. TUC is one of them. The reason why I choose to commend them for keeping to the faith, for keeping to the models of our operations, making sure that members benefit all in all and continue to lend their confidence and support to it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Duko. What is the maximum threshold of shares acquisition at the TUC Credit Union?
Yes, the general rule, for the minimum is 300. And for maximum, you can go up to any level. The general rule with the credit union is that one person cannot hold 20%, more than 20% of total assets.
Okay, why?
So, because we don't want, it's a union. It's something that everybody must have a say.
Okay.
It's not like somebody has put his money there, so it belongs to me.
Okay.
It belongs to all of us.
Okay.
So to make sure that everybody will be capable of participating, we don't want one person to take it as his property. So one man cannot go beyond 20% of our assets. So before that, you can have for minimum shares, the 300. Beyond, you can go on and on and on.
But do not cross 20%.
20%, yes.
I don't agree, but okay. What are some of the limitations? Now let's focus more on TUC. Is the reason why we're here. Yes. What are some of the challenges? I think for those of us who may be interested in joining, yes, and those of us who are already there, would like to know some of the challenges you are facing and how you are handling them, so that our monies do not get affected.
Yes, I think as I mentioned, if you look at the history, the initial challenges we faced was with defaults. But as the manager has just mentioned, it's only peculiar to TUC. You know, they say the voice you use to come and take the loan is not the same voice you use to come and pay. You come and talk nice and take it. But I know it's a business. Sometimes it may not be your fault. It may be that you entered to a business and you had challenges. So default was one. Especially people thought that it was a church thing. So when I take it and I don't pay it. But that is why we try to build a bond among ourselves. Let us understand, this is for us. When it goes well, the benefit is for everybody. You get your interest, you get your dividend, and your business will go on. Gradually, you have come over this large volume of default. You know, the financial system, bad loans are always there.
Yeah.
Like what we are saying, the risks are part of it. But there's a threshold where you shouldn't go beyond. And I think you have worked seriously now. It is something. The only appeal is that members should understand that if it's not beyond you, you see, take it as your own. Look after it very well, and then the benefit will be shared by all of us. I think another challenge that we have, especially with the TUC, it looks like, and it's all over the country, sometimes people look at credit union as something for the low class. You see, if you see somebody holding credit union card, he doesn't see it as similar to a bank note. Somebody holding a bank check or something of that nature. So they think that is for the low class. But I think, Regional Manager, if you look at the history of credit unions, you'll find out that it's only in Ghana here you look at it in that way. Credit union is not for the low class. In fact, it is for the people who really want to take control over their own resources and manage it to their own advantage. So these are the two things: the default system, and then people looking at it as something which is not befitting their status. That's what we look at.
I'd like Mr. Hoto to give us a brief history of how the credit union started and to bust the myth that it is not for the elite. But I want Mr. Duku to answer a question for me. How does the TUC Credit Union make their surplus? You said they don't call it profit.
Yes.
We know you get majority of it from the interest paid on loans, right? But how do you make the others?
Yes, we take the loans that we are talking about. You know, the banks make money. When you take interest, the small interest, the 3% those things talking about, we use to pay our staff, run the service and those things. Then, when there is some money which has not been gone into loans, we also invest them. We do investment in those areas, and then the return that come out of it. So we are our dividend, our profit and those things come from these things, from the interest accruing from the loans, and also the investments. That we make.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much, Mr. Hoto. You're at the top. Not to mention any, specific scenarios or give ideas, but with the investment issues going on in the country right now, are you sure that our monies with the credit unions are safe?
All right. So let us say generally that. Because of the nature of our operations, when it comes to investment, we can say that generally we are safe. We are safe because where do we invest as credit unions? That is one of the things we have to address. So Secretary told us that majority of our funds are expected by our prudential regulations or our standard to be in loans. So we invest mainly in loans. But there are some credit unions that will also not have much in loans. The rest, where do they put it? And so over the years, you see credit unions investing or lending to the state, particularly in the area of treasury bills. Credit unions also lend to some banks because we keep investment accounts with the banks. We buy their FDs, fixed deposit, we buy other products, and we earn from these sources. Others also discover some others within the money market, particularly the players under Security and the Security and Exchange Commission. Those in the investment industry, credit unions invest with them and get some good return over there. Very few, you will see wanting to buy issues of bond. Or maybe go onto the capital market and wants to buy shares of other corporate institutions. We are quite slow in these areas. That is why under the development we have now to do with the domestic debt exchange, many of our credit unions are in good business because those who also have even something over there is just but
small and may not affect them largely.
At all. That is the point to
Nowadays you can expect anything. We have our first question. Geshin says the exposition on credit union in general and the TUC Credit Union in particular is very helpful. Can the panelists give any example of credit union collapses of which they are aware? If so, what accounted for those situations? Additionally, what guarantees are in place to indemnify members in the event of liquidation?
Okay.
I think the question is clear enough.
It's clear.
Okay.
And a good question, of course.
Okay.
Let's say that we are not completely out when it comes to factors that can bring us down to our knees. So those things are available. We have the opportunity to even recall that few are out of business because of these factors that have, played within the environment. What are these killers? We communicated that credit unions have mandate. We have permissible activities. Some of the leadership of some credit unions have what we call straying away from our core mandates to engaging in other activities that are not within the regulated activities. When you do that, particularly investing in long-term investments, i.e. acquisition of land, investment in real estate and what have you, these things are not for concept like banking institutions or non-banking institutions. You never can tell when the depositor would ask for the money. You never can tell when they will require loans. So ours is to keep enough liquidity to be able to service our members when they have their needs. This business of straying from the core mandate is one of the factors that have brought some to their knees
credit unions
and have been communicated generally. Those that are doing well, you see them not wanting to go into those areas. We have another factor where you realize that the internal structures that are supposed to work and make sure that the funds are managed properly, sometimes the internal structures do not also work well. So where there is an internal audit function, i.e. audit committee or supervisory committee, the board of directors, all these structures have mandates, they have functions, they have responsibilities to execute. Should they renege on their responsibilities, they expose the activities to few individuals who may not have the right orientation and would want to redirect its focus. Where individual interest comes in and the structures cannot control this, you see that those ones also may go down.
Okay.
But I tell you that from the cases we have done, the information that is available to us, data available to us, those who have gone down have not gone down primarily because of embezzlement cases, whereas there are few, but majority have gone down because of keeping to other activities that are not our mandate.
Okay, thank you. Now we have, please keep your questions and suggestions coming in anyway.
I think there was a question extending from that question.
Okay.
You were talking about what happens to, is there people's
Monies?
those kind of things. Okay. I think we made a distinction between the shares and the savings. In case a credit union goes down, what do they lose?
Yeah. Okay.
That's the point.
Very well, very well. So let's say the should we take the step to liquidate? Liquidation is a decision that can come from the shareholders. It is also a decision that can come from the regulators. So where it is triggered by the shareholders in event of anything that they feel they have to liquidate, should there be any liability, the liquidator would want to find out how do we finance those liabilities.
Okay.
But where it is directed from the regulatory point of view, what becomes a subject of consideration is how to get the deposit of the members to them. And so those who are affiliate to KUA, this is one of the benefit we enjoy, that there is a fund within the movement called Deposit Guarantee Fund or Deposit Guarantee System, where all credit unions in the country are required to keep some premiums over there as a growing fund that is used to revive, not to pay depositors, but to revive the falling ones.
Unions.
We never would want to get to a point where we will liquidate because we cannot pay our members. No. There is a fund that will support in the revival process. And when it is revived, members have access to their money. That is why you never would want to hear that one is down completely and the members cannot access their money. If they are duly under this program, the system have a way of working together to revive them, and members eventually get access.
That's very good news. Sure. We have a comment from David Nyako. He says, as a member of the credit union, what fascinates me most is the ease of getting access to funds, even on Sundays. Is it only TUC Credit Union that works on Sundays? You don't know of the others?
Other places, because as you said, we work within our own environment.
Okay.
We study our system, and then we
tailor fit it towards suits us. Okay, that's fine. We have a question by Ellen Soa. She says, if you're a pensioner and you save with the credit union, can you still take a loan? She's asking you because you will not be getting a salary or something.
Sure, you can take a loan. That's why we are talking about those who take loans as salary workers and those who take loans like traders, like all those people. So if you are a pensioner and you are saving with credit union, you can still take loan.
So in this case, what is the guarantee? Is it
the
my
guarantee is that you
are
are taking loan double your share and your savings.
No.
And then another member within the credit union
guarantee for you. Okay.
So yes.
So let's change the perception that once you retire from economic activities.
No, you don't.
Never. That is not the case. So you see retirees who are doing even better than those who are in active service. These people, when you have the opportunity to, have them as part of your financial institution, it's a blessing. There are people who have big businesses. They would want to always be in business. Even if they are not there, remember that businesses are going concern. There are people who represent them to still manage their operations. Such ones, we never want to say that it is not prudent to give loans to them. Once the credit union can discover their business prospects, what they are using the money from, and they can convince and communicate that they have the capacity to pay back this loan, the union is able to lend it, particularly where the guarantor system is met.
It's fine. Okay. We have a comment by Ochiami Asumedu. He says, God bless you, host and guests, for such an all-important knowledge. Thank you for watching too and contributing. Now, there's something very dear to my heart on the credit union issue, right? And I'm very happy that I get to ask today. We mentioned people thinking that the credit union is not for the elite. Don't you think it has to do with how the unions are presented to us? I'm talking about the aesthetics, the optics, the locations, how the buildings are, the personnel, the advertisements. Every time you see a credit union, it's in a corner somewhere, in a small room, You see, the banks are all out. Yes. So even if, I'm sure there are so many fancy buildings and stuff, people like what meets the eye. So what are you doing as a credit union who has beautiful services and, very safe options for our monetary safeguarding? What are you doing in terms of your advertisement, your appearance, your to the public to encourage us to join?
Sedinam, let's make the point that credit unions are evolving. From 1955, when the concept started in Ghana, how it was then, you see us changing, you see us transforming year on year. Let me rather say that travel and see. And when you do that, away from maybe your community here, you will discover credit unions. If it were the issue of business premises, you will identify with many of them that have their own business premises, bigger than what you would even expect. Some have and are even renting it out to other financial and other institutions.
Okay.
So, not to mention any name, but here in Accra, because I'm speaking as a regional manager, you find a number of our credit unions having their own beautiful banking premises, business environment. These are things the APES working together with the various directors and management of credit unions in Ghana to see, because these are things that bring up our image. These are things that help people to identify with us. I am sure, in the next couple of years, TUC is about ending their, what we call strategic planning. You will discover that if not this year's, strategic focus, in the subsequent one, this will be one of the things that the directors here will be looking at, how to acquire a small, space here, and they will build a beautiful banking hall for themselves.
Okay.
But why not move away and then through to and you'll see.
So you, in essence, I should travel and see.
Yes, across the regions.
I'll take the advice.
And you will see a lot of them. Here,
Okay.
let me just mention about 510. Go to University of Ghana, which is the largest. They have beautiful banking hall,
For the
a
credit
one-story building, and have some that they have even given to other people who have rented.
Okay.
Go to Control and Accountant General Credit Union. Around Osu, you will see a magnificent building. Go to Adabraka Camco, you will see one. Go to GBC, within the broadcasting employees, you see a beautiful banking hall. Go to many others, you will discover that they have beautiful space. We are saying that the public is not aware because some of these institutions or credit unions, you have to belong to them to appreciate what is happening in those jurisdictions because of issues of common bond.
Okay.
However, we are encouraging all to open so that people get to know the concept.
Okay, so the credit union is evolving.
It's evolving.
As the years go by, we'll see more improvements.
Yes, we improve.
Mr. Duku,
Yes.
please
you
speak.
know where we started? We started inside the church.
Okay, and now you're
There's
outside.
a small room there. Then we have moved here. And as a manager is saying,
Very soon you go to a bigger
very
place.
soon you go to get you go to Techimine and then you will see credit union.
Yes, over there.
Yeah.
Mr. Duka, I'd like you to speak to how digital credit unions are. Do you have apps? Do you have USSD codes? Because no one really wants to work with their 100 CDs to your office to deposit. How digital are you?
Yes, the process is ongoing. As you mentioned, depending on your size, this digital is so expensive. So you look at your size and then you progress with it. Currently, our system, I mentioned the QSoft, which the QA is using, which we are operating with, managing our data and those things. Right now, our system, we do even mobile money there. You have you can save using mobile. Just send it to them. They will create your accounts and all those things. So yes, we are moving.
Okay.
We are moving.
Let me add quickly. Please that in the area of digitization, indeed, we also appreciate the philosophy or the concept that the world is now turning a global village, and we do know that the internet has become the village square. So what are we also doing in area of leveraging? As I made the point earlier, because we are growing, those who have the capacity to embrace all the modern banking technologies, they are leading ahead. Okay. And the growing ones are also. Remember that we are growing in stages. So the younger ones are also following. Talk about digital app where you want to use your mobile phones to operate your financial needs or have your financial needs done. You can do that. Some have the smart apps that allow you to make deposits into your account. Some have the apps that will allow you to check your balances. Some have the accounts you could see mini statements. They have the accounts, the apps that will allow you to have access to the credit union 24/7. However, because the operation should not be left just open, there are some restrictions, as others do, to allow people to keep within the confines of our operations to allow it to grow. Okay. So yes, these apps are available, and we are encouraging TUC. TUC is almost there. They have hooked onto the modern accounting software.
Yes, we are quite digital.
Yes, and very soon you'll be having to see everything through the SMS alert system.
Okay.
All transactions, every member of the union TUC would have. You will see all your alerts. You have all your balances disclosed. You have opportunity to find out what you want to do. If there is any discrepancies, you can follow it. Beyond that, we are encouraging them to also come along with the smart apps that will allow people to make deposit into their accounts.
Thank you so much. Final words, please.
Right, let me take the opportunity to again salute all the members of the cooperative movement. I'd like to make a point. This is one of the things we observed in our engagement. We have a history and a literature that does not speak well for us, looking at where we came from, that the concept of the credit union is for the low
middle
class. I have the opportunity today to re-inform the public that, on the contrary, that is not the case. Let us go and find out where the concept of the cooperative credit union began in the world, and you will identify that the first country that started it is Germany. And when Germany started it, the cooperative credit union concept started amongst professionals. So they were a group of lawyers, group of doctors, that is medical practitioners, group of accountants and other professionals who thought that the only way to create value is to bring their financial resources together so that they can control it from amongst themselves. They did that and had a lot of progress. They also thought that this which was useful to them should not be left at their level. So through their concept, it trickled down to the business community, to the church community, to the other communities that we can make mention of, and that is how it started. So it is never a concept for the marginalized or the low class, but rather those over there.
And everybody.
In our country, it started from a church since 1955. And people thought that the church over there at the time, the members were these people. But I tell you that we have changed because we serve now people that we cannot describe even their economic status. What do you have to say about the biggest credit unions in Ghana that is established by the university community in Lagos? Do you want to tell me, my sister, this evening that all the community members over there in the university are people who are... Do you want to tell me that the Parliamentary Staff Credit Union at the Ghanaian Parliament, the people over there are from... Do you want to tell me that the Controller and Accountant General Credit Union, all the practitioners over there, the educated people, the professionals, are people who have low status? So our history have changed. Let us not regard the old ones. The community, look at the church here. Are you saying in this church, an institution that is building and educating the human brain capacity to discharge spiritual, spiritual, and look at them. Are you saying that these people are low class? Look at me. How can you describe me? So it is to say that anyone who wants to make recourse to that is identifying with an old system.
Okay.
We have moved away from that, and credit union is for all people from all walks of life today.
Okay, so we have a comment, I think our last comment. The person is asking, or it's a question rather, that what strategic plans do you have in terms of marketing and branding? I think we touched on it a bit in the earlier question, to make the credit union more attractive, for lack of a better word, to the elite, to the point where they would prefer to save or transact with the credit union as their principal financial institutions instead of the banks and savings and loans. What are the strategic plans? Mr. Juku, I'm sure you are attending.
I think one of them is what we are doing now.
Okay.
And going forward, see, the church wants us to now come to the realization of what true credit union is.
Okay.
Especially with the TUC one.
Okay.
In fact, we want to grow in such a way that we can perform all the functions that somebody will need in a bank.
Okay.
And if you can do all these things in your church, within your vicinity, and as Mr. Nyako just mentioned, you work here on Sunday, and your financial needs are sorted out. And then whatever business you want to do, we mentioned that apart from granting loans and all those things, we also offer business advisory and all those things. So yes, gradually, you see, we will disabuse our minds, but we begin from ourselves. If you want to know, you can know more.
Okay.
The church will be doing more about these things. In fact, next Sunday, we will have a resource person to follow up on this.
On these discussions.
Hopefully, he's coming from the one who has spearheaded the University of Ghana one, Professor Simpson. He will come here. He's the head of business school, University of Ghana. All these people are within the credit union. He will be in the church also to talk about these things. So gradually, you will get the idea, and then you will have the full benefits of the credit union.
Okay.
Let me add quickly that also from the national level, the leadership of the movement is also taking this advertisement, this marketing bit very seriously. We also have it as one of our strategic focus. We want to find out what can we do to allow Ghanaians and beyond have knowledge about the credit union philosophy in Ghana. Right. And we are doing it most strongly.
Okay.
Very soon we might also start a discussion to use your platforms and other platforms that are available to actually carry the message. Some who also have the view that credit unions cannot finance our business because we are big business people. We want to say that, come, Membership here at TUC is over 1,000 cities.
Yes.
I mean, 1,000 members. And there are people who are out there are thinking the loans we can take, can they finance my business? Can they finance? Why not come in? Open your account and find out whether the TUC can finance your business. We have credit unions in Ghana that are financing big time businesses. We can do that over here too.
Okay. Thank you so much. I was going to say you should convince us one more time as to why we should save with the credit union, but I've been convinced enough.
Okay.
So Sunday, God willing, I'll pick a form.
Very well.
I hope our viewers pick forms too. And thank you so much for joining us on this episode. It has been interesting, very educative. I think the credit union is a brilliant idea. We should endeavor to be members, especially if you are a Trinity United Church member. Let us help to grow, build, and support our own. Join us same time next week for another interesting, educative, and engaging topic. My name has been Sedinam Togo Lamadeku. I was here with Mr. Daniel Kofi Hoto, the Greater Accra Regional Manager of the Association of Credit Unions Ghana, and Mr. Emmanuel Duku, our Church Administrator and Secretary to the Trinity United Church Credit Union. See you same time next week. Good night.